Hey guys, and welcome to this first demo lesson in which I'll be going over exactly how to score a 10 out of 10 if Poem of Return happens to be one of the poems that come out in the English Home Language final exams. The purpose of this video is not to teach you each and every detail of the poem, but instead to equip you with what you need to ace this section in the exam. Along with this, a full poetry essay to score you 10 out of 10 is included in the link in the description, along with a summary sheet of all the important aspects of this poem. Head over to my channel to find a video on exactly how this summary sheet can be used to answer the contextuals. There is also a vocabulary sheet for all the more advanced words in this poem. But now, let's dive right into Poem of Return. Poem of Return discusses the suffering that the people of the speaker's homeland faced in their fight for liberation, and the guilt that he felt for leaving his homeland behind. There are three main themes for the Poem of Return. An easy way to remember this is with the acronym RIP. R is for resistance, referring to the fight that the people in the speaker's homeland endured to come out successful. I is for isolation, referring to how the poet felt when he was away from his homeland. P is for patriotism, referring to the pride that he feels for his country, and the nature of war that the citizens endured to fight for freedom for their country. Now, let's discuss the structure. All you need to remember for the structure of this poem is that it's a free verse poem and it's 14 lines long. There's no possible questions that they could ask you in the contextual regarding the structure of the poem. Now, stanza 1. Stanza 1 discusses the poet's return home. Line 1 says, "When I return from the land of exile and silence." The key points to remember from this line are that the poet has been forced out of his homeland. He uses the word exile to tell us that he is unhappy with his current place of residence. Silence tells us that he is lonely as there is no noise around him. He misses the sounds of his homeland. Although he may be grateful for the help of his host country, he is clearly unhappy and wishes to return to his homeland. In line 2 he says, "Do not bring me flowers." Flowers are given as praise, and he clearly believes that he deserves no praise. He feels guilty that he left his homeland while others stayed behind to fight. Stanza 2 discusses the suffering that the people of his homeland experience. Lines 3 and 4 say, "Bring me rather all the Jews, tears of dawns which experience dramas." There's a lot to unpack in these two lines, but I've ultimately simplified it into the two aspects that I believe they could question you on in the exam: personification and alliteration. The personification is regarding the word dawn. Dawn means sunrise, and in this case it refers to nature as a whole. There is personification as nature is described as crying due to the word tears present in the line. This emphasizes the extent of the atrocities and suffering of the people that even nature began to cry upon viewing it. There is also alliteration of the D letter in dews, dawns, and dramas, which emphasizes the same message of personification. Line 5 says, "Bring me the immense hunger for love." Hunger for love refers to the natural human connection that is now missed. This phrase emphasizes that they were so consumed by the fight for liberation that their love and human connection were even neglected. Line 6 says, "And the plaint of tumid sexes in star-studded night." Plaint of tumid sexes refers to arguments between lovers. Typically, lovers would spend romantic nights together, but they are deprived of this in times of war. This line emphasizes the separation from loved ones and the need for companionship. Lines 7 and 8 say, "Bring me the long nights of sleeplessness, with mothers mourning their arms of bereft sons." These two lines discuss the stress that mothers felt due to the fact that their sons were taken away from them. This is because of the violence occurring, and their sons were either taken as prisoners or died. The word bereft means deficient of. This tells us that the mothers longed for the return of their now gone sons. In lines 9 and 10, the poet says, "When I return from the land of exile, no, do not bring me flowers." This is a repetition of the first two lines. When there's a repetition in poetry, we call this anaphora. There is also a double negative in the phrase no, do not. All of these literary devices are used to once again emphasize the fact that the speaker does not view himself as a hero worthy of praise. A key point to remember is that there is ellipsis at the end of this line. This emphasizes a long dramatic pause taken by the speaker. The final stanza discusses the real heroes being those who stayed behind, and how the speaker feels that they deserve justice for their resilience. In line 11, there is an example of redundancy or tautology. "In only just this." This emphasizes how simple and sincere the poet's request is. In line 12, he says, "The last wish of heroes, fallen at daybreak." Daybreak marks the beginning of a new day. These heroes passed away just as change was about to occur, and they could not witness it. It could also mean that they fall at the start of their lives, meaning that they die at a very young age and still had a lot to live for. These people never saw the freedom of the change they fought for so relentlessly. The last wish would have been to witness a transformed and free country. Finally, with wingless stone in hand and a thread of anger snaking from their eyes. This is a paradox, as clearly, guys, a stone is something that is heavy and it typically cannot fly anyway, so saying it is wingless is ironic. The paradox indicates how futile the attempts of the activists were, because they do not even get to throw the stone. They instead just die with it. It also tells us that their weapons are ancient and ineffective. The word snaking creates an atmosphere of rage and hatred. There is an ominous tone in the line, as the speaker suggests that the anger of the people will not easily be forgotten, despite an end to the war. This tone is directed at the oppressors, and the image of anger as a snake is a warning that the danger of violence. A danger has not been crushed, even though many heroes have died. The speaker wishes to honor these soldiers, as well as the missed possibilities of others who were sent into exile. Although these guys never had the chance to cast their stone, so to say, they made the greatest sacrifice by dying in the struggle for independence. He wants justice for all these people, and there's a thread of rage emanating from his eyes. Their eyes refers to only a little portion of their eyes, inflicting the rage that they felt for the colonists who had taken their country. Instead of receiving flowers as a prize, he would prefer to receive what they all fought for. We should never forget the sacrifice that they made. The only gift he desires upon his return, because he is capable of returning, is that which caused them to get enraged enough to fight. The speaker would rather hear stories of his fellow countrymen and honor their sacrifices than be treated as a hero when he returns home. Although he is hopeful that freedom will be achieved, and he will be glad to return, he realizes that it has come at an enormous cost, and he does not want that to be forgotten. Guys, this is an extremely easy poem. Go watch my video on how to use the summary sheet to answer these poetry contextual questions, and I guarantee you will ace this section. If you would like analysis like this on each poem, along with summary sheets and essays for each poem in the syllabus, please do consider joining my course by sending a WhatsApp message to the number on the screen. Please drop a like on the video and subscribe. Thank you for watching.